Hello, hello, hello. Today is Thursday, January 12th, 2023, episode number 243. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you know when we go live. You're in the litter box with Jules and Catturd. Hey there, Cat. How are ya?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Sorry, I'm sitting here trying to read the news. Is going just fast right now. I'm sitting here trying to read every little thing that's going on.
Oh boy, it
Lord.
is happening. It's happening in a big way. I'm telling you what. All of that racket and all of that noise that they made over Mar-a-Lago and the Trump documents, right? Well, they've got a real problem on their hands because Attorney General is forced to pick a special counsel to probe Biden's handling of classified documents as White House insists they were misplaced. Well, Garland reveals garage batch was found on December 20th, and DOJ was notified of another discovery today.
Yeah, the third batch has been found. That's what I was reading up on just now, just in case everybody knows. Batch number 3.
Oh my
Good Lord.
gosh.
You can't make this up.
I know it. And
believe me, they're trying to take, just so everybody knows, Biden does all kinds of, I call them the Biden garbage family because they're just garbage. And they do stuff. They've got their hand in the cookie jar so much worse than this. It's bad. They're bribing China and they're getting no-show jobs in Ukraine. And just millions of, and they're just a mob, just a crooked crime family. But the fact that this is even coming out, they would just bury this stuff normally. But he keeps insisting that he wants to run again. They don't want him out because they can control him, but they don't want him to run again either. And this is what it's all about. This is going to prevent him from running again.
Absolutely, it is. There's a whole bunch of things. In fact, it was interesting. As soon as the first batch came out, I went, okay, they're all scrambling over there to come up with a reason why he can't run again because he keeps insisting, just like you're saying. And I actually tweeted that out. I don't do a whole bunch of tweets, but that I saw a million miles away. They can't afford this guy to continue to be the face of their party, just like we can't afford to have McConnell to be the face of our party. It's over. It's dead in the water. Come on, come up with something else because it's not working. Well, there have been so many different gaffes. Joe Biden, he couldn't even speak today when he first approached.
He is slurring. Have y'all heard him
know.
slurring lately? He's just like one word in the
That was
just one word goes into the another, and it's just like one big word, like 3 words together.
Yes. It's bad. Check this out.
Good morning. So I'm a little late, and I'm due at please have a seat. National Cathedral at a little after 11. But good morning. Today we've got some good news.
Oh, really? I don't know what to make of
Look how hard he's breathing.
I know it.
Man,
He's not.
This is Jerry how hard he was breathing.
Mm-hmm. This is a leader of the free world. Yes, of course. Sure. Why not?
Good
what a
Lord.
joke. Well,
I say that.
I know. It's really sad, isn't it?
So they
really
appoint this her guy, and he used to be Ray's assistant flunky.
I saw.
So just so everybody knows, nothing's going to happen with him. So they get the biggest Trump hating, crooked cop prosecutor in D.C. to go after Trump, and then they get the biggest Trump hating crooked cop to go after Biden.
It's ridiculous. I mean,
it's just
they're not even trying to hide it.
You can't make it up.
No, they're not even trying to hide it.
But look, you still got to troll the left with it because it's Mueller time. It's her time. The hurricane is coming for Biden. Here, I've been rubbing it in all day. Like I bet he had the nuclear codes right there in his Corvette.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. There have been so many funny memes. The memers are on it too. They're just fantastic.
It's so bad. Rob Reiner's only tweeted once today, and it was about that Santos guy.
Of course, but you know what? Santos doesn't hold a candle to this news.
he usually tweets 50,000 times a day all about Trump. He's awfully quiet today.
They all are. They all are. So the second batch was found in the garage, and then there's been a third batch found. But this was a fabulous meme that was sent to me.
You think I'm kidding?
On how
I'm
this
not
went
kidding.
down.
So I'm excited about it.
Explicit video. I'll have to mark this one explicit.
That was his actual garage that he had. That, and not
Yes.
not the hunter figure.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But look how nasty that is.
Well, nobody goes. I mean, he's a mess himself. Honestly, and look who he's got taking care of him. Jill. Dr. Jill.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Well, she's not.
He wears Pizza Hut tablecloths everywhere he goes.
She does. It's really awful. I mean, it's really bad. But here's the thing. I don't see the FBI making raids to actually make more discoveries. They're not making a spectacle out of this, or.
Well, yeah, that's why he had to rush out today, because it's so bad and it looks so awful that they're saying, okay, we're going to appoint a special counsel. We'll get O'Hare to do it. We know he'll do anything we say. He's Christopher Wray's right-hand man, and Rose used to work for Rosenstein, for God's sakes.
Oh my gosh, Ray.
So, we'll get him out there. We'll get him out there, and when he'll act like he's doing something, nothing's going to come of it, and he'll have a report that nothing was wrong. And they're just doing this to try to get it to go away.
Oh boy. I mean,
we're fair. We did a special counsel for both. Special counsels are supposed to be so rare, and I don't like them for either side. There should be no more special counsels. They drag the country down. They're all witch hunts to get somebody. They all have all these special, above the law privileges that nobody should have. It's just, and now they're just abusing them more and more and more. Like they're abusing impeachment and everything. Man, it's bad.
It really is. And the fact that this special counsel that they picked out, that AG Merrick Garland just picked out, was an FBI. He was FBI Director Wray's former assistant. That's who he is.
What I said. He was Ray's flunky.
I mean, this is bad news bears time. And they can't even hide it anymore. What, they're going to investigate themselves and they expect for us to believe it? I don't think so. So it's just going to continue to go on. They'll drag it out forever. You remember what they did with the Mueller probe, right? It's Mueller time, like you're saying. It just kept going until they came up with nothing. Kind of like the whole Russia narrative. But there is some breaking news here that I have. Apparently, Lisa Marie Presley, 54, suffers cardiac arrest at her Calabasas home and is rushed to the hospital, regained pulse after CPR performed. Sound like
Lisa
anything
Marie
we've been
Presley,
hearing?
who's that, the daughter of Elvis or something?
Yes, that's the daughter. She's 54 years old. Wonder if that's some of the reason, like some of the others that are falling out all over the place with this.
I read another about 30 stories of young people dying in their sleep and falling out today.
It's awful. It is.
They're just dropping like flies.
It's one after another with no end in sight, and they are still giving that vaccination. Still to this day. I can't believe it myself. I don't know why people aren't out there just saying enough.
It's
Stop.
turning though. I mean, think about how much it's turned in a year though. It is turning, and it's all the way turned now where people don't trust the vaccine now. Before it was like, oh my God, you just got to get the vaccine. You people are selfish. You're killing grandma, the winter of death. All that's over now.
Yes, it is. I mean, this is a bad scene here. And so as we're seeing the completely two different systems play out, because it is a two-tier justice system.
Hey, wait a minute. Where was the third batch? Where was the third batch found? I never could find it before the show. I know it was just coming out.
Let's see here. This one I found on Twitter. 3 strikes, you're out. And I'm not sure where it came from yet, but I'm sure we will be finding out
I've been reading
soon.
it everywhere. Also, Twitter files dropped right before the show.
Yes, it did.
It's like sitting there all day long and no major news events till like 1 minute before the show.
Of course. That's what we do here. Breaking news. It's a really good thing
like,
we don't
dang.
read off of a script.
Yeah, I don't have time to read it. So
I
by the
know.
time the show's over, everybody else is like, man, we already know this.
Exactly. And what's so interesting about all of this, what's coming out here, is that that house where that garage was backed into, that house, Hunter Biden had it listed as his address, which is really interesting, which means those classified files aren't for Hunter's eyes, which means, again, here you go with another problem here. I mean, look
He's
at
probably
this.
rolling them up and lighting crack pipes with them, classified documents, rolling them up, catching them on fire.
Exactly. But that's really what we have here. So you want to talk about how he tried to brush it off like it was no big deal. No, it is definitely a big deal. It's a huge deal what happened here, and even a bigger deal because he made such a big deal out of what happened to President Trump.
The trolls bending themselves into pretzels today on Twitter trying to, oh, he just didn't return things and he did this, but Trump did this. And it's just funny as hell. They're building themselves into pretzels, playing Twister, trying to make it where this one's fine and this one's evil.
That's right. They really are having a hard time with it because they can't tell the difference. Well, one of them is okay because it was the president of the United States who had that classified information that deemed it not to be classified, and that is the president's job. And then you've got this clown who was vice president at the time, which means we should probably look for Obama files too. FBI, hey, while you're at it, while you're knocking down Biden's residences and offices and all of his associates, why don't you go over there and do the exact same thing with Obama.
Biden, you got that right.
Because you know it happened there too. So, I mean, but you've got A.G. Garland that's putting on this great front, and this is what he has to say.
Earlier today, I signed an order appointing Robert Hur as special counsel for the matter I've just described. The document authorizes him to investigate whether any person or entity violated the law in connection with this matter. The special counsel will not be subject to the day-to-day supervision of any official of the department, but he must comply with the regulations, procedures, and policies of the department. Mr. Hur has a long and distinguished career as a prosecutor.
Yeah, a very long one. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Everybody
He's a long,
in D.C.
distinguished career of being a swamp monster that works for the Democrat Party and pretends to be part of the justice system.
Exactly. That's the first problem right there.
I can't believe Merrick Garland even got that out because he's one of the dumbest people alive. I mean, that guy is dumb.
Yes.
They trot him out like twice a year. And have you ever heard him being questioned by the House or the Senate? Oh my God, he is so dumb. And it's not like he's playing dumb. The guy's just dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
He is. He's a guy who's been. I don't know how much college he had, or he was rich and they just let him through here. And then they appointed him here, and then he got appointed here, and then he moved up, and he's loyal to the Democrat Party, so he got appointed here. And now we got this guy that could have been a Supreme Court justice. It's one of the dumbest people. I mean, the guy can't even talk. He's dumb.
Mm-hmm. We have a real problem here. I mean, this is a really big deal. So you've got, of course, this is a great one from Grand Old Memes. You've got Dr. Jill, the babysitter, firing up those classifieds on a gas stove.
Yeah, on a gas stove. Man.
Oh my gosh! Because
the gas stove. Oh my God! Take out the Ukraine chip.
Can you believe this?
Put in the gas stove chip.
I mean, really?
Do these dumb? You know, they already backtracked that. Now we never said that. You did. Mm-hmm. You floated a trial balloon and you got hammered because it's impossible.
Well,
they're obsessed with electrical, which is mostly burned by coal. They're obsessed with it. And it's one of the, if they want pollution, that's one of the biggest polluters there is.
But what's so funny is that AOC got completely owned by this whole thing. It was absolutely hilarious. So just so everyone knows how this whole thing went down, I'll go ahead and read you a little bit. AOC claims gas stoves give you brain damage. Well, Trump's former physician responded with an epic comeback. I mean, something that it was so funny. So she took to Twitter, which is what she normally does. That's one of her ways of communications, to defend the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission's recent recommendation of banning gas stoves due to them reportedly being a health hazard. Well, Representative AOC tweeted, "Did you know that ongoing exposure to NO2 from gas stoves is linked to reduced cognitive performance?" Her tweet,
She's got one.
her tweet came as a response to Trump's former White House physician, Representative Ronnie Jackson, tweeting, "I'll never give up my gas stove. If the maniacs in the White House come for my stove, they can pry it from my cold, dead hands. Come and take it." All right. So this is the exchange. So, as a response to her comments, and he tweeted back a picture of AOC using her gas stove, which is really funny. So, here she is. It's very, very cold. All right. So, he goes on to say AOC says gas stoves cause reduced cognitive performance, yet she uses a gas stove. Is this a self-diagnosis? AOC, as a medical doctor, I can tell you this. What's wrong with your head is not caused by stoves. Something way bigger is causing your decreased cognitive function.
It's so ridiculous. And now they're like, yeah, and if you have a gas stove, your child is 12% likely to be autistic.
Oh, please.
It's just,
No.
they just make this stuff up to try to get rid of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's a liberal. If they don't like gas stoves, you can't have one neither.
That's it. That's the way
They want to
it
control
works.
everything. I'm telling you that what you learn in school, from what you drive to what you eat to what you wear to everything in your life. You be an electric car. You're not going to drive that car you got. You're not going to have an electric stove. You're not going to be able to run your fire pit. You can't run your lawnmower. You can't do this. You can't do that. I mean, man, they're just the biggest busybody Karens in the world. They want to control everything you do, your whole life, and they suck at their life.
They do.
That's the problem.
They absolutely do. Their own lives are a complete and total mess. I can pretty much guarantee it. If you were to look at any of these fools up there and the way they behave and they conduct themselves, they can't even do a good job together when they're in it for the exact same reason. And they're trying to cover it up themselves. I know. There's
not a Democrat in office right now that's not a complete and utter freaky weirdo from hell. Man, God, they're just weird.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even imagine them. I mean, you're talking about them with their kids. You're talking about a fake conversation with fake people. And I mean, I can imagine they're so fake and so weird.
It's so true. Well, they're going after your stoves now. They went after your hamburgers. Yeah. They're going after your stove. But you have a point there, and that's one that really needs to be brought up. With electric, there is a switch, and they feel like they want the power to be able to turn it on and off at a dime. I will never forget.
It does it now.
Well, they're doing it in LA. You remember with COVID. You
can't cook anything on a gas top, on an electric top now because it turns itself on and off.
That's right.
And you're like, what's the number one thing? If you're not, I like to cook, so you have to control the heat. You can't control the heat, you can't cook it right. And so when your oven's sitting there turning itself off and on, and you like need high heat right now, it screws your whole dish up. So,
well, it's true. And I can give you an example to back up what I'm saying about this whole being in control of the switch situation, because I have an example of something that happened in LA. Right when COVID first came out, a lot of people were going to house parties, right? Because all the bars were closed in the very beginning. The schools were closed, everything was closed. So there were all of these house parties, and I went to many of them where people would get together and then have pool parties, what have you, and and have fun. Well, they found out, and the mayor of LA ended up shutting down all the electricity to not only businesses, but to people's homes. One of the people and one of the parties I went to actually had their electricity shut down after it was reported by a neighbor that they were having parties. So that happens. Absolutely happens. Yes. And they want things this way.
That's why I don't have neighbors.
Yes.
No neighbors is a good neighbor. Best neighbor in the world, no neighbor.
I know. So that's what we have. I mean, they want that.
They could never do it because any restaurant, especially the more, the more 5-star or the more, gourmet restaurant you go to, they all cook on gas. All of them, every single one. They don't cook on electric. Are you crazy? They couldn't get their food out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
you would have to shut down 99% of the restaurants. And so all the liberals wouldn't be able to go have their, Chateaubriand
Gosh.
at Hoo Hoo's.
At
So
Who
that
Who's
would
on
never
K
fly.
Street. Yes.
Yeah. Hoo Hoo's on May Street. I'm going for some Chateaubriand. Oh Lord,
Oh my
they
gosh.
couldn't live without it. So and everybody, like everybody's just going to yank out their gas stoves, and everybody can afford to like put an electric in. They don't even make that many electric stoves.
Exactly.
They don't even make good ones anymore because everybody goes to gas.
I know. It's just
But
crazy.
gas ovens suck though. Just so you know,
I
the
mean,
perfect cooking machine to me is gas eyes and an electric stove because I don't know what it is. Electric stoves, you just can't brown. Like if you want to cook biscuits for homemade bread or something, man, electric stove is nothing like it.
that's the chef in you. A lot of people don't know
Yeah,
how you love to cook, but you are quite the cook and you make everyone hungry whenever you put that cornbread up there. I will tell you one thing. I know that you'll have a line a mile long if you ever decide to have turd stock over there because everybody's going to demand some cornbread. I know that. I see that one coming.
turd stock.
Oh my gosh. So
I talked to
there
John Rich today about turd stock.
you did. And what was the news?
Yeah. Well, we're not telling anybody yet.
Oh,
We're
you can keep it a secret.
trying to find a venue for it, trying to find a good place.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to have it like huge the first time, but it's going to be in a nice place where some people can come and have fun. We got somewhere in mind, but I'm not going to say it yet.
Oh, okay, sneaky cat. Well, that's what you're good at. You can keep those secrets. But it is going to be a great time. And it's something that we need to see more of from our side of conservatives because a get together like that would be amazing. And I know so many people are interested in it. I get questions about turd stock all the time. It should happen. I hope it does. Well, speaking
It's going to happen.
yeah. I mean, I hope so because everybody's talking to me about it. You've got a lot of pressure on you because there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just hosting an event. You have to pull permits. You have to get insurance. I mean, this is not a small deal.
Well, you got to be protected.
Yes, you do.
Not just insurance. You have to really have it promoted so that takes your liability off. So it's a lot, and John Rich he's used to that. He's a country music star and he plays big venues and he knows everybody. So he understands all that goes into it where I don't.
Well, that's okay. I mean, that is okay. Certain people have histories with those things. I used to do conventions too and things like that. And it's a whole process. It is something like you've never seen before. And then try doing it out of the country. That's even another discussion. Yes, there is. There's a lot of mechanics in place. It's like putting on a convention or one of these executive meetings. They're major. It's not small. And trade shows. And all
I'm
that
not doing
mess.
this to make a bunch of money either.
You don't make a lot.
You just try to break even and let everybody have a good time. That's it. And you win. Everybody's happy. Everybody's fun. If you break even, you're good.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you, we're talking about switches and electric. So over here, this is interesting. The U.S. official airs safety concerns over heavy electric vehicles. I don't know if you want to share that with Elon Musk, but the fact that they're as heavy as they are, this is a really big deal, and it poses major safety risks from the heavy electric vehicles, and any collusion with lighter vehicles has pushed the head of the National Transportation Safety Board to issue a general warning to all road users. This isn't going to work. I know they want to put us all in these electric cars, but it's not going to happen. It's just not. It's not feasible.
It's impossible, and it's not the way of the future. I've already said that if you live in a city and you somehow only travel in this little circle of 50 to 100 miles, and that's your life, you never go out of town, and you're able to charge, and you have a garage, which nobody in the city does. You don't have a garage in the city. Nobody does.
Right.
And you have a garage, and you can charge it, and you're rich, and you can afford it. And then, you just go around and come home. Then it would probably be worth it. But, you're never going to get your money back. If you pay $200,000 for it, you might as well just bought a car.
It's true. I mean, I don't know how they think it's going to work, especially in zones like yours and mine. Imagine if there was an earthquake or something like that and trying to charge that vehicle. I don't think so. That's not going to be your escape route.
It's just, well, they're it's just like, they got Pete in there just because he's gay. We all know that,
Right.
He got put in there because he checks the LGBTQ box. He knows nothing about transportation, as you can see. He don't work. He's lazy as hell. He's been given everything his whole life. He's a trust fund baby. He's worthless. He's a worthless individual that knows nothing because he's never been out in the real world before. But if you've ever been out in anywhere, because I used to travel the United States, so I've been all over the place. And when you get in a traffic jam, that's unexpected. I mean, you have you live in LA. What can I say?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I've seen them where you sit there for 6-7 hours, and there's a wreck up ahead, and everybody gets jammed in, and you're screwed, or you're trying. Everybody's trying to leave at once for a really quick hurricane's hitting, and you can go over to 75 north, and it's literally a parking lot for hundreds and hundreds of miles. You can't there's nowhere to charge an electric vehicle. Give me a break. But there's so many people jammed in, and then the motels fill up, and then the gas stations run out of gas, and then it's just a parking lot, and nobody can move. I mean, you might sit there all night in the same spot. And if that ever happened, and with all electric vehicles, and you had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of electric vehicles that run out of juice in a parking lot on a main highway like that, it would take a year to bring generators out and start one at a time, trying to give them enough juice to get them off. You couldn't just get tow trucks and tow them. Where you go? I mean, nobody can get in there. They're jammed up.
Oh my gosh.
So they don't think through things like that.
Well,
you're done.
I have a picture of, where Elon Musk, he does all the rockets and stuff over there in Lompoc. That's where it is, actually, in California. And a friend of mine works on that base and sent me these pictures because we are always talking about electric cars. Do you have any idea how much it would cost to build one of these things to charge one vehicle? I have the pictures. My friend sent it to me because they were just sitting there looking at this going, are you for real? If there was an emergency. And what the lifespan of our solar panels, it's 10 years. Can you imagine the amount of work? Look at this monstrosity that they've built. Look at these units for one vehicle. Can you imagine?
And it probably won't even charge. You can't even get a charge if the sun's not shining.
I mean, and then look, here's when the sun is shining. Look how they line up here. For those that don't know, if you live in a town that doesn't have these yet, which there are plenty, you can see what this would look like. I mean, it's not feasible, not even at all. So, yeah.
The whole thing's dumb as hell. It doesn't work. They don't have the infrastructure. What do you think all these bills and $1 trillion bills they're trying to, we're going to make charging stations. Like, there's nobody where I live in 100 miles going to buy an electric car, folks. Give it up. They're not doing it. They're never going to do it out here in the country. I mean, my God, you know what I use my truck for just around my farm? I mean,
Exactly.
I'm hauling stuff and this and that and, and putting chains to trees and hauling limbs and pulling trees out by the roots. And I mean, farm work. You have any idea what an old farm truck does on just a little farm like I got? I mean, it's just all day, every day.
Well, and that's the thing. And we've got a complete buffoon that is running the transportation department, Buttigieg, and his whole situation. I mean, it's so bad. But you've got an outage going on here.
He's a grown man who went home 6 months maternity leave. A grown man.
Exactly.
Going on maternity leave. What a joke.
Mm-hmm.
He should be mocked and shunned and laughed at for that, not celebrated as a hero. Maternity for what? Why do you need leave? For what?
I know.
The woman definitely needs some because look at what she has to go through to give birth.
Right.
What did he have to go through?
Nothing.
Nothing
at all. Nothing at all. But
yeah, I'm old school too, and I don't have kids, but if I did, I'm the old. Everybody's got to see the birth of their child. I got to see it. I got to film it. I got to watch it coming out. I got to I'm sitting in the waiting room with my buddies with the cigars.
There you
Kind of
go.
guy.
Well, I mean, why should everybody have to suffer? I mean, seriously.
I know.
I mean, it's
Isn't
not
one of
mandatory.
us enough?
Yes.
Isn't one of us enough?
That's the point.
Yeah.
But this is crazy because you've got this buffoon up there, and I love it when it happens because it really shows how incompetent the left is, and especially this administration, because a lot of people realize now that it's being run by a whole bunch of interns, okay, that have absolutely no clue what they're doing. And even the people above them that are supposed to be directing them, they are not in charge here, okay? They're just not. This is not what they do. But Canada's flight entry system hit with outage after U.S. and Philippines airspace shut down in last week. So it's going on, and it's interesting because the World Economic Forum was warning everybody about it, like they've warned us about COVID, like they've warned us about everything else.
Yeah. They warn you right before something's about to happen that they're not supposed to know is about to happen.
That's
you ever
right.
Notice that?
It always happens that way. So that's what we should expect.
People call it the plandemic because it was planned, and nobody's ever going to ever tell me it's not. The whole thing was planned.
All of it.
For control. All of it.
Absolutely.
Look at the people that got rich. All the people that donate to the Democrat Party and the New World Order and the WEF and all the people that donate to them, they shut down all the mom and pops and they left all the big corporations. Apple made a fortune. Mm-hmm. Everybody, because everybody was at home, and Amazon that was like doubled. And all these big, huge corporations that give to the Democrat Party and give to these crazy organizations, these globalists, they're the ones that prospered, and the pharma companies. And and look at the people who suffered, the middle class all across the world, and they were putting their boots down. They turned New Zealand commie, they turned Australia commie, Canada commie. Everybody realized, hey, we got a communist government here.
Yes, we do. And a very dangerous.
It's not Marxist, it's communist.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And their interests are obviously not here at home. They are with the Ukraine. And this last thing has got everybody pitching a fit. There is now a House resolution that seeks to put display of Zelensky's head in the U.S. Capitol. Was the 100 plus
That's a Republican doing
billion?
that.
I know. To Ukraine, not enough. What is going on here?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw this and I went, are you kidding?
I got a question. What's happening in the war? I guarantee you not one person that's listening to this show, we have tens of thousands of people that listen to this show, not one can tell me what's going on in the war. You know why? Because they don't ever show it, ever.
That's right.
They're like, is Ukraine winning? And then another, Russia's winning? We have no idea. Imagine, you remember when they were over in the Middle East? There was a reporter on every tank. Mm-hmm. We got live firing going on and this and that. And in the Kuwait, the oil fields burning. And you know what I mean? They're there. Even in Vietnam, man, there's correspondence everywhere. But why isn't there anything like that coming out ever out of Ukraine? That's what it's a good question.
It's a great
How come
question.
we don't know what's going on? It seems like for $100 billion, we could at least get some news over here, what's going on with our $100 billion worth of investment.
Well, you would certainly hope so, but this has got everybody upset, and it should. First off, you have this clown who goes and addresses our Congress like he is the president of the United States. He doesn't bother to dress up for the occasion, and he basically insults us to tell us that it's an investment, but yet he's not telling us what we get in return for it. He's just taking.
It's not charity, he says. The hell it's not.
Bull.
It's 100% charity.
100%.
Yeah. It's not an investment in what?
Yeah. And I don't want to hear it from the left because I get
investment in what?
I get into it with the leftists over here in Hollywood about this stuff all the time, and they're like, well, it's from the industrial complex and the weapons that he received were about to expire. I'm like, please do not waste time and energy with me on that, acting as if you know what this is, because it doesn't work. No,
it's
this
expired.
It is just
We
not.
just sent him expired weapons.
Yeah,
You know?
right. And we're now
Expired
training
weapons.
them, and we're now
That
going to
tank's
send our troops over
expired. That
there.
airplane's expired. It's like buying milk.
They're just ridiculous.
You go get a howitzer, you know, it says, please use by January 22 or discard.
I mean, what are you going to do with this stuff?
It goes back to my saying, if you can convince somebody men can get pregnant, you can tell them anything, you don't believe it. Anything.
They will believe it.
Oh,
yes,
Lord.
they will believe it. And so they're having a real hard time with this whole thing. But this just infuriated me. And the fact that it came from a Republican representative, Joe Wilson of South Carolina, he introduced it on January 9th, 2023. Hello, bud. Get a clue. We're done with Ukraine. We have got plenty of work to do here at home. And that's what we need to be focused on.
That's what you care about? A bus of that slime ball? That's what you care about. Joe Wilson. Isn't he the one that said, you lied to Obama?
I know. I mean,
Isn't that him?
I think it
or
is.
Am I wrong?
I'm not sure. But when I saw this, I went, this is the last thing we need. It really is the last thing we need. But I got a lot of responses about yesterday's show. And honestly, Kat, you really nailed it when you started talking about what the Republicans need to do moving forward. Because it's true. We need to start shining a light on all of this corruption, releasing the January 26th, which McCarthy is talking a good game here. I mean, he is saying that is exactly what he thinks needs to happen. He definitely says that he wants to not only do the January 6th, but he wants to talk about the classified documents. He openly came out and said, hey, we definitely need to have an investigation. Congress needs to investigate it. Check it out right here.
Let him finish. Do you see this matter regarding the classified documents found in President Biden's home going before that committee?
I see it could go from that committee or others, but I think Congress has to investigate this. Here's an individual that's been in office for more than 40 years. Here's an individual that sat on 60 Minutes that was so concerned about President Trump's documents locked in behind, and now we find it just as a vice president, keeping it for years out in the open in different locations. I do not think any American believes that justice should not be equal to all. And we found from this administration what happened before every single election, whatever comes out that they utilize to try to falsify it, they try to have different standards for their own beliefs. That doesn't work in America. Yeah.
And that's why it needs to be exposed. We need to put on a fabulous show and get some of our Hollywood producers out there on the right, like Robert Davi, et cetera, to make sure that these performances are done to the best of their abilities, because we have got to prove the other side. We have to prove all of these people have been just lying to us. Holding all of that information back on January 6th, that needs to be exposed. All of this corruption needs to be exposed. And I did find out here, they found the third batch in his old office. So, no telling. I mean, they probably scattered out.
I tweeted today, two things that's in Joe Biden's basement, him and classified documents.
And of course, they're just the left is freaking out over this. You've got the White House.
The people that's coming to my page, the trolls, and trying to like I say, bend themselves into pretzels. It's hilarious. They're going, he didn't keep them, he didn't steal classified, he just failed to return classified.
Oh, please.
He failed. Yeah, I didn't steal that car, I just failed to return it after I borrowed it. It's not theft. I just failed to return it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, I mean, this is the thing. Now they're being put and they're being forced to kind of try to defend him. And of course, you've got Mophead here, who does a terrible job anyway. But she spars with Peter Doocy over how classified documents ended up in Joe's private office. And she's really upset over, she's one of those people you can read pretty easily, and she's constantly frantic and she's constantly backtracking. You don't have a whole bunch of faith in what she's saying because she reacts.
She's terrible.
Yes, she is. She really
can't think
is.
on her feet. She's like Pete Buttigieg and everybody else in this administration. They check the boxes and they have no qualifications and they just suck at their job. And it's just that simple. They're horrible at their job.
Oh my gosh. Well, here she is. She's panicking over this whole thing because now they're in the hot
And then
seat.
on these documents, how could anyone be that irresponsible? Isn't that what this president says about mishandling classified documents?
The president spoke to this personally. He spoke to this personally, and he believes that classified documents and information should be taken seriously. He takes them seriously, and he was surprised to learn by any records have been. I disagree. Here's what happened. Once
Then
his.
why is there a Justice Department?
Well, let me.
Look at her
explain
trying to
you
read
the
something.
process. Here's what happened when his
Now here comes
lawyers
the
found
reading.
out that the documents were there. They immediately turned them over to their archives.
But they were
But
there
they
in the first
immediately
place. I
turned
understand
them
that
over
they-
to the
you say they
archives.
did the right thing
I'm not
when they
gonna
figured
I'm
it
not
out.
gonna go into specifics, but what I am reiterating to you is what you heard from the president yourself, Peter, which is how he saw the process and how he respects and truly respects and takes this very seriously, and when he knew, and how surprised he was by it, and the actions that the right actions that the lawyers took. Again, this is under is under review by the Department of Justice, and we're going to let that process continue.
Oh, no, honey. It's now an investigation. Unfortunately, we just have another swamp monster that's going to be doing the investigative work on this whole thing. But it's out there.
He said irresponsible because that's what Joe Biden was saying about Trump, the exact word. That's what Peter Ducey was doing.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, but what you don't understand, sure, he was caught with classified, but he did the right thing. And that's what, when he found out, he went through the process. And that's what matters. And not the fact that he clowned on Trump for 6 months for classified documents, and that he's finding them everywhere, even in his, they'll find some of his Depends tomorrow probably. Shit them out. Oh, there's another classified document. I found it in my Depends. But I turned it right into my lawyer, and I'm going through the process. I mean, it's such bullshit.
It is. And for those of you that want to see this 60 Minutes interview that everybody keeps talking about, here's the clip.
And you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago. What did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen. How anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
And you don't know.
That's it. That's going to haunt him forever. That is going to haunt him.
And come to find out, those things that said top secret and all, they were just folders they put out there. Mm-hmm. It was all staged. It wasn't even real.
Absolutely, it was.
They were empty folders, folks.
And that's why we have got to have a full-blown investigation on who was doing the investigative work for Mar-a-Lago, because these are all coming out to life now, and they're coming out here, and people are.
They got a
looking at
big
them.
problem now.
They do.
They got a big
You're
problem.
Right. You are
especially
right.
they got a big problem because they were like hanging their hat on this, and now that Biden's, I mean, it's just worse with Biden because he can't declassify anything, a vice president. Trump can go there and just by taking them there and just say, I declassify these, and they're declassified. If he says they're declassified, they're declassified. That's the president's right. He can declassify anything on the spot. Vice president has no such power. So it's bad. And there was 1, then 2, then 3. It's like the COVID shots. Some of them are going to be 6 by the end of the week.
That's right. Well,
I mean, how many more are they going to find?
Yeah, it's the same exact thing. I mean, this is a full-blown cover-up. Biden and White House lawyer failed to publicly disclose December 20th discovery of classified documents in Corvette garage in initial statement. So the initial statement that was issued by the White House attorney Richard Sauber on Monday to address the CBS News report on classified documents being discovered at the Penn Biden Center on November 2nd, 2022, failed to disclose that additional classified documents were found at Joe Biden's Wilmington, Delaware home on December 20th by Biden's personal attorneys. It was not until Thursday morning that Sauber announced that a second set of classified documents were in Biden's garage and was confirmed by Biden in a contentious dispute with Fox News reporter Peter Doocy. Even the statement that he read out, it was terrible.
Do you have that one where he
I
said,
certainly
my Corvette
do.
was locked? Oh my God. They're like, please don't talk. It's like emergency. The basement dummy's talking off script. The basement dummy's talking off script. Somebody shut him down. Shut the lights off. Emergency. Hit the red button.
Oh my gosh, it is so bad. You really can, and what we've seen of that garage is very telling. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video too, so that you all have it. Here you are.
Mr. President,
Okay.
classified material next to your Corvette. What were you thinking?
Let me, I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street. But at any rate, yes, as well as my Corvette. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified material seriously. I also said we're cooperating fully and completely with the Justice Department's review. As part of that process, my lawyers reviewed other places where documents in my, from my time as vice president were stored, and they finished the review last night. They discovered a small number of documents of classified markings in storage areas and file cabinets in my home and my personal library. This was done in the case of the Biden Penn. This was done in the case of the Biden Penn Center. The Department of
He's
Justice
reading this, folks.
was immediately, as was done, the Department of Justice was immediately notified, and the lawyers arranged for the Department of Justice to take possession of the document. So we're going to see all this unfold. I'm confident. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Goodness sakes.
Are you wearing Depends right now? Are you wearing Depends and are they full? Boy, I'd love to be a reporter. I would last 5 minutes.
I don't think that they would
How
let
full are
you.
your Depends? Sing supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I dare you.
It's true.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Oh, Kat, you definitely should make an appearance there sometime. Oh my gosh, I don't know how we get you in there, but we can work on it. Well, Sauber's initial statement on Monday only spoke about the Penn Center discovery. So that part of it was completely left out because they knew if it was found in multiple locations, right, that we would have an even bigger problem on our hands. So in this statement that they released, it wasn't mentioned. So when Biden spoke to reporters on Tuesday in Mexico City, where they thanked him for not building even an inch of border wall, okay, in Mexico City, he only spoke about the Penn Center documents, failing to disclose the Corvette garage discovery last month. And so here he is. He goes on to say, well, let me get rid of the easy one first. People know I take classified documents and classified information seriously. Oh, yeah, especially when they're from Donald Trump. But
so seriously, they're finding it all over your house and garage and properties and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's how serious you take it. It's been there, what, 6, 7, 8 years?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And don't forget what was happening with the Chinese. See, this whole thing. I mean, and you even have Joe Biden, thanks to Maze Moore, who is an amazing historian, from his own mouth talking about the Chinese owning us. Listen.
Everyone's out there going, oh my God, how in God's name, the Chinese came here and the president didn't get anything. Guess what? They own us.
We welcome, President Obama and I, we welcome, encourage, and see nothing but positive benefits flowing from direct investment in the United States from Chinese businesses and Chinese entities.
Okay, hello. This is his own. These are his words. The Chinese own us. Well, why does the Chinese own us? Because people and politicians like you, Joe Biden, have sold us out and have sold us out forever. And you are continuing to do so. And now you may have just shifted it over to Ukraine because that's a better money laundering scheme over there. It's working out better for everybody, but it's not for the American people. I mean, this is frightening stuff. This is out of his own mouth. Where do we go from here?
Man.
We're not going to accept this. This is illegal.
This is hilarious that they made this big deal out of it. And now they're finding secret documents all over the place.
Everywhere.
Oh man, I
Like
can't stop laughing at this.
Well, like I said too, I mean, let's go to Obama. Let's go check out his stuff as well, and Bush. Let's see what he's got.
Let's see what Big Mike's got in the shoe boxes in his closet.
In the underwear drawer. Yeah. Oh no. Oh my gosh. There has to be an investigation because it's never going to end. And right now with the whole Ukraine thing, they're just putting it on display. I mean, you've got now this idea of having a bust of Zelensky in the Capitol. But did you see what they did with Miss Ukraine? Miss Universe?
Ukraine!
You gotta see
this
it.
Warrior of Light costume symbolizes Ukraine's fight for freedom. The Warrior of Light protects her country like Archangel Michael, who is a guardian of soldiers and considered to be the patron of kids, the capital city. This Warrior of Light will help in their fight, Ukraine.
Lord.
Frightening, is it not? This is propaganda. This is
That
the
really
Miss
does
Universe.
Look like the Capitol. This really does look like the Capitol. If you've seen the Hunger Games, it looks just like the people at the Capitol now. I mean, it's exactly.
It is.
It's just.
And there are people that are completely brainwashed over this whole thing.
They don't care about Ukraine anymore. It's all about gas stoves. We got to get rid of them. 2% autism. Oh yeah. I'm like, man, I was just cooking a grilled cheese sandwich, and by the time I flipped it, man, I couldn't remember anything. I thought, hey, I must be cooking SpaghettiOs. So I started stirring it.
Yes.
I mean, these people are crazy.
They do not. They do not have our interest in mind or at heart at all. In fact, you know, I know that Joe Biden is starting to receive a little bit of slack because of what happened at the border, because he's not paying attention to it. They cleaned it up to make it pristine and perfect before his visit, but nothing has been done since. He didn't speak to anybody. He didn't do anything about it. Well, Biden's open border update, Mexican officials say that at least 2 illegal aliens have malaria. They have entered the U.S., and so that's going on. I mean, let's face it, they won't let you have a professional tennis player come to the United States because he refused to get the jab.
The best tennis player in history.
Exactly. And you've got this mess going on at the border, and they're already here? I don't think so. I mean, you've got all kinds of people that are coming through this border, and we cannot let them forget about that, and we have to keep the pressure on. 5 migrant sex offenders caught in Texas border sector in 2 weeks. I mean, this border is wide open, folks. We've got real problems here. We've got fentanyl, we've got the cartels, we've got human trafficking. All of those things that the left always act like they care about, they don't. They're not doing a thing about it.
They don't care about anything.
You have migrant groups, armed human smuggler who was arrested near the border in Arizona. It's just getting worse and worse and
Cartels
worse.
are taking over Mexico. They're running the country.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know they did in pockets, but it's getting where they're just taking over the whole country now.
Well, I mean, 12 migrants rescued from rail car crossing border into Texas. Do you remember those that were locked in that truck and they all died as a result? We didn't hear anything after that happened. They just refused to address it or even talk about it. We have got huge problems in this country.
And then they got Brazil now. They cheated and installed a bunch of a damn communist down there, Crook, who's going to just completely destroy that country, this great country. And, of course, Obama, here comes Obama and Hillary. Oh, he's the one most wonderful guy. It's Democratic. You won a Democratic election. No, he didn't. They cheated like hell.
Gosh.
That's all they do now everywhere, just cheat.
That's all it's about, but that's the problem. And when you start talking about how we're going to change this thing and how we're going to get around it and how we're going to move forward, well, lawsuits are going to be in the plenty, and especially when you're talking about the jab and allowing these migrants to come across the border and not even doing anything about it. Well, you've got ESPN employees who are now suing the company over the vaccine mandate. That's happening right now, and that's exactly what needs to happen.
Commented today. Every single person that got mandated this ridiculous jab are fired or this. They should all, these corporations, now, you can't sue Pfizer, but you can damn sure sue your boss that tried to give you this jab.
Jeez.
And so I would sue them. If I had anybody in my family vaccine injured, I would sue the hell out of them because they made you take it and they can be liable. Pfizer should be able to be liable. Why do they get special? For what?
Well, I can give you a comparison here. In California, they're making, Governor Gavin Newsom is making it legal to where people can go after gun manufacturers, right? And so why can't the same thing happen with pharmaceutical companies? Go after the people that make the jab. If it's okay for one, then it should be okay for the other. They must be held. Yeah, they must be held accountable for all of this. It definitely has to happen. It's sad, but it's so true. I'm so tired of this two-tier system, and we have seen it the last couple of years. And it's everywhere. It is. It's in everything.
It's not just one thing that's two-tiered. It's all two-tiered.
They're having a fit since they're losing control over Twitter. That was the worst thing that ever happened because, see, before they were able to control all of these narratives, because they controlled the platforms, they controlled the news, they controlled everything that was happening on Facebook. You're seeing it through the Twitter files, and I cannot wait to get into the next group of them because it's going to be fascinating to read. It always is, because these are their emails. These are the internal documents. You're reading how they operated, how they took over. And then all of a sudden, you had people that were related to Fauci or who were related to people in the government that were working and had these major fine positions in Twitter, just like any of the political arms, right? Like the DNC, it's like nepotism gone wild. Same thing with the RNC. It's the same group of players, and they are deeply embedded. And it's just how the government works. That's why it's going to take a long time for us to root all this stuff out. They've been in there for a long time, people. I mean, a real long time. It's going to take it. And even still.
We only have a few more minutes left. We need to remind everybody Kash Patel is going to be on the show tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. He's coming. I can't wait. I'm really excited to have Kash. We had him on before. He was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Real easy going, real easy to talk to guest.
Yes, so he will be here with us tomorrow. And also, just so everyone knows, we are going to start getting off of some of these other platforms, just so you know. And the way we're probably going to do it in the beginning is start off streaming on everything, and then I'll start turning them off. I'll warn you and say, hey, you got to go over, and we'll direct you on where to go, and start moving our traffic elsewhere, because we're not doing anything for you or for us or for our cause by continuing to stream on some of these platforms that really don't like us anyway. I mean, you saw what
everybody hates us.
They really don't particularly care for us as it is. So we'll give you all the information, but what we'll
hate them back. That's what I do. It works for me.
You know, there's a two-way street always. So whatever the case may be, we can
just read some of my emails sometimes. People write emails, 5,000 word emails. Just I can't even say what they say.
It's horrible. I'm getting them too from inthelitterbox.com. And I always send them your way whenever we get them. And I advise sometimes, don't open this one. I didn't, because it just looks a little strange, but I still send them to you because we get them for sure. But that's okay. I mean, if that's how they want to look, if that's how they want to act, I mean, that's their own deal. It's not what we do, though.
If you think you're upsetting me, I just laugh at it. And I'll read 3 words, and I can tell if it's just going to be some, hate mail, death threat, ridiculousness. I just don't read it. Then I block the email. So all that writing for nothing, trolls. I hate it for you.
Exactly.
You sit there all night like I'm going to read that shit or something.
Well, I mean, they think that they're doing something by writing that kind of stuff, but it really just brings them down as a human. I don't know why they spend so much time on the hate, but they do. Whenever something happens to one of their people, I pray for them. I honestly do not wish ill will for any of them. It's inhumane to do so. But for some reason, they cannot wait to get their daggers into all of us, especially you. I mean, Kat, our website, whenever we get those emails, I'm like, oh my gosh, who could write something like this?
I get hundreds of them a day.
Who would sit down and write something this wicked? I really don't get it. Well, anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. We do have Kash Patel, like Catturd said, joining us tomorrow, so that's going to be a great time.
What time's he going to come on in a half hour?
A half hour, I believe, after